Hey everybody, Yehudah Sunshine here from Cyfluencer, the cybersecurity thought leadership platform. I'm excited to bring you yet another action-packed conversation with today's leading voices in cybersecurity. That's you guys. Say hi. Woo!
Hi guys.
Yeah, it's everybody always gets caught off guard when they realize that they're like the featured rock star of tonight. So at Cyfluencer, it's our mission to not only make cybersecurity more accessible, but sift through the heavy brand and product marketing copy and make the most relevant ideas and interesting perspectives available in the digital domain. So that's why we have today's guests. We're talking about cybersecurity in Africa. We're going to try and debunk a couple things, try and understand what the reality is. And today we have amazing guests. Woo! 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 We have Judy. We have Samaila, VA. We just went over it. I tried and I screwed it up real bad. But we have amazing guests who will introduce themselves and not screw up their names. Probably when they introduce themselves. Everybody has weaknesses, and sometimes they all start in the first 30 seconds of a broadcast. So anyway, Judy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Why are you here?
Well, thanks for not screwing up my name.
I tried so hard, and I was like, no, it's not. Nah, I feel it bad.
So Jode, it's fine. Thanks, man, for not screwing up my name, though. Yeah. So thanks so much to Cyfluencer for having me today. And it's so late. It's super late over here. So I will get, techies at this hour is when we are very energetic. So it is so much hype around there. I didn't have coffee. This is just me naturally, okay? So I go by Judy Ngure. I'm a cybersecurity practitioner in Kenya, based in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I've been in this field for over 4 years now. Now next year I can firmly say 5 years. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I can tell you for sure, it's one of the best fields to be in. It's a roller coaster of emotions. I love that. So today things are working. Tomorrow your terminal is not even working. Your computer refuses to boot one day. The following day everything works. So there's no day that's like the last. So you're always told to forget about yesterday because today is a brand new day. So that's me in a nutshell. And that's it. And I'm an advocate for women in cybersecurity. So thank you so much. Back to you.
Any other introductions on here? Is there anything else?
I was waiting for you to give me the cue.
Okay. Samaila. Yeah. Samaila, on to you. At least I didn't butcher that.
No, you did right. You did fine. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on this call. My name is Samaila Bako, and I'm a cybersecurity practitioner in Nigeria. I have been working in this industry for about 6 years, and I've worked mainly around security awareness, doing trainings as well, a bit of security operations and a bit of security assessments, but mainly around trainings. I usually find myself speaking at webinars and conferences, and I enjoy, talking to people about the human side of cyber. So I'm not too attracted to the technical side these days. But yeah, and that's just a bit about me.
So maybe we'll start with you. I was wondering, everybody I could try this. I could keep on going, but I'm wondering how many chances I get before everyone's like, no, not allowed. Everybody has a different reason that brings you into cybersecurity. What is it that sparked it? Was it something that you saw that you kind of had this technical skill? What is it? Was it just something interesting to you? What do you got?
I could give you the short answer, and I could give you a bit longer answer. But I think for the sake of context, I'll go with the longer answer. So in summary, I would say it's the fear of blood. And then for the longer answer, I always wanted to study medicine. right? From when I was a kid, I always saw myself as either joining the military, like joining the Air Force, or going into medicine. But I realized at some point that I don't really fare well with blood. Like I'm not afraid of injections and all that, but I can't. I couldn't see myself seeing blood every day. And that's why I felt like being a doctor would be like. So I thought about the next thing I was good at, which happened to be football. But I knew my parents were not going to let me play football. And so I went for the third thing, which happened to be tech. So I decided to study computer science. I and I got some influence from my brother, who was already studying computer science at the time. And then from there, I went to university. I had to change schools, so I changed information systems, and then I got an exposure to security in the process. And that was when I decided to stay on the security part, and I went on to do my master's degree in cybersecurity as well. So it started from not wanting to see blood every day, and I ended up going back to what came natural to me, which was using computers.
I can say I was not expecting that one.
Me too.
And not even like a little bit. I'm so glad that you're not interested in blood, and also that football didn't work out, because then cybersecurity got you. We're very lucky.
Fair
That
point.
was football. Judy, do you have an aversion to blood that drove you into cybersecurity?
No. I've never connected. Like this is wow. This is wild. How, see, you should have started with me, because now there's nowhere to go but down. Because now
You have to step it up. I hope it's good, because it's like if you just decided that it seemed like a good idea for you, that's not going to be nearly as exciting.
Okay, I'm gonna try it myself with some paprika in here, which is still red, So same WhatsApp group. I mean, so for me, mine was not even. I wasn't doing it because I was attracted to it. I did it because one of the companies I was working for was hacked, and nobody knew how to fix that issue, and I was the system admin. So
Mhm.
it was my job to bring everything back up, but I didn't even know what had happened, and it wasn't like a black hat. Sorry, a black attack. It wasn't a hacker attack. It was an
Mhm.
internal audit, and one penetration tester had been hired to come and look through the system to figure out vulnerabilities, and their job was to bring everything down and then go. So it was our job to figure out what exactly had been compromised, because the company's portal was not working, and that's where the entire that was the entire business model. So I had to stay in the company. I stayed there for 72 hours trying to figure out what to do, trying to bring backups. But then the whole point was things had been compromised, everything was down. I couldn't access anything because I was also being locked out. So for me, it was more of a need, it was a need, not a want. Because I was
Mhm.
fine as a system admin. It was more of a need than a want. I was forced into it. Yeah.
Mhm.
There was It was either you bring our systems back online or you're getting fired tomorrow. So
It's
Wow.
interesting. Do you think that's reflective? I mean, in Israel, in the West, there's a lot of different paths that push people into cybersecurity. Do you think that your experience is regionally reflective? That people are increasingly being pushed into positions of responsibility because of this need, or do you think that this was just kind of like a one-off where the company trusted you and thought that you had the skill to be able to pursue this?
uh, I think for us, say mostly around the ecosystem I'm around, and I don't mostly work even with companies in Kenya. I work around across a lot of African countries. It's usually okay. So people who move to security, uh, most of them are out of curiosity. They were in the system one way or another, either developers or they were system admins or network admins. And curiosity got the better of them when they were doing something or they were going through an audit, and it was interesting what they could see other security experts doing. So for them, they transition, and companies tend to do this rather than hire new cybersecurity experts. They transition their existing people who were interested to protect the role, and then transition them into new roles in cybersecurity. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of that. And then I've also seen the need, like a need for cybersecurity experts, especially if you're dealing with a very complex system, money movement, money transfers here and there. You have to have cybersecurity experts that are very good technically, as well as can actually also communicate with your customers and tell them, you know what, your money is safe. We have security experts in place, we have systems in place, but on top of all that, we have people in place who actually handle this everyday security that would come. Yeah.
So, Mr. Baku, how I want to ask about your experience. Next time you're going to become doctor, it's going to be nice. Do you think that it's reflective of Africa, or is it what about your experience has this broader understanding that people in your community in the broader region would understand? Is it that going through higher education and getting a master's degree is the best way? Is it how Judy is talking about, kind of this practical experience is going to drive the need or the skill set? What do you think is going to give people that opportunity?
Well, I think Judy's experience is like a baptism by fire, when you're just thrown into the open flames like that.
Yeah.
I think she's right that some people get into cyber due to the needs of the company. So, and it's easier to move someone from one department to the other than to start hiring a new person. For me, I think I took the more, I don't want to say Nigerian approach, but yes, but the more Nigerian approach, because there's a lot of emphasis, at least while growing up and around me, there was a lot of emphasis on degrees, and I think my parents were particular about also having a master's degree. I probably didn't care for it that much, but there was some, I don't want to say pressure, but there was some push. You can use this time to get this education and get it out of the way. And it's simply because there's a lot of competition in Nigeria. We're quite in number, and it's easy to find people that have master's degrees and PhDs everywhere. And so, if you want to stand a better chance of earning a good living and having a successful career in quotes, you need to go that extra mile academic wise, and then you add other things like certifications and relevant work experience, and you build relevant skills as well. So I think for me, it felt like the natural path because of what I was used to, what I observed growing up.
So there's a lot to unwrap there. We're definitely going to go back to the certifications, because nobody really knows how to navigate that. But Judy, do you think that in your experience that learning by that trial by fire made you more motivated to dive into cybersecurity, made you feel that your skills were valuable? Or do you think that having a greater level of academic preparation is gonna help you kind of understand where this career is going to bring you?
So first of all, Bako, so you guys are quite a number. 250 million is quite a big number. Yikes. Very big number. I would like to just put that out there. 250 million. It's quite a big number. But yeah.
That's a couple people. What's 250 million people among friends, right?
It's just 250. It's just a very small number. It could be 500, but it's just 250. So, interesting. Yeah. So back to your question, I think for me, yes, it did motivate me. I think if I was very comfortable where I was, just doing everyday system administration, I'd understand one system and I'm very good at it. I would get very good, comfortable, and there was no reason for me. I would not even have thought to go outside of cybersecurity, like system administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this I'd say, because I'm like a very spiritual person, I'd say this is something that needed to happen for me to be where I am today. Because I would not trade cybersecurity for anything else in this universe. My entire life is around cybersecurity. From even the books I read, it's very annoying. But it is very annoying. It's very annoying. But I think that needed to happen. Yes, for me, for sure, for sure. That is, I think, was the best trigger. Like that was the best jumpstart for me in cybersecurity, because I was not going to have it any other way. Yeah. Um,
I mean,
was
it's really interesting to hear the difference between your passion and the career path, because some people are very, very passionate about a lot of things and they happen to do a job. And to hear how cybersecurity is permeates so many aspects of you, it's fascinating to hear that, because like without that level of passion, you're not going to be able to bring it to that next step. You're not going to be able to compete with the people who have all these different resources or different that's the one thing that you can always outdo somebody. So it's very fascinating to hear that you're so motivated, and that kernel, that initial experience, how it kind of drove this.
it's needed. I would say it's really needed, especially considering where we are placed on which part of the continent we are in. It's very much needed because we are competing with guys from first world countries with very advanced technology, but we are getting the same kind of attacks here. So you're like, how do I deal with this? With the minimum viable security in this company, they're still getting the same kind of, I don't know, DDoS attack, very sophisticated, but you have to understand how to deal with it from this side of the fence, where you don't have the best, softwares in place, or, IDSs in place. Yeah.
That's another. There's like so much to it's like so much to unwrap from the entire experience, and even just like a minute ago, putting Africa and putting the different countries individually into perspective, just the scale and scope. It's such a massive population, and the experiences are so different. Trying to not paint in too broad strokes, it's difficult. But I think that it's really interesting to hear this, and I'd love to hear from the other side, from Mr. Bako over here. What do you think is something that's going to motivate people to take cybersecurity from a job to this passion? Is it having a mentor? Is it having this educational experience that you feel like you have all of the skills, or is it this on the job experience and learning from trial by fire, trial and error? This is something that I'm really qualified to do. This is something that people really support me, and I'm helping the organization even if we don't have the resources.
Well, I think that there are different approaches, because, for instance, not everyone would have turned out the way Judy did if they were put in her shoes. A lot of people would have probably gone home crying. Some wouldn't have known where to start from and things like that. So not everyone has that ability, So
Mhm.
different strokes for different folks, like they say. I think, but for generally speaking, I think a lot of people do well when they have like a role model, someone they look up to, and which can also sometimes be in the form of a mentor. If I'll give you an example, there's this general talk or complaint about the lack of diversity in the cybersecurity industry. We talk about the number of women in the industry. The percentage, I don't think, is more than 20% up to now globally. I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
it's
but
like max 25% if you're lying about it.
exactly. So
Last it was
and
10. Last I checked,
yeah, it was what?
11%.
Wow. Okay. So you
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and if you ask young people, young girls, sometimes you get to hear answers, the normal answers like medicine or law and things like that. And it's not because um, I personally feel that it's simply because many of them are not aware of this option. Certain roles have been seen to be dominated by men, so a lot of ladies can assume that they may not be successful in the field, or they may also see some other barriers which I don't want to go into at this point. But I think if with the more ladies that go into the industry, the more role models come out, the more mentors of female mentors are available, and then the more young ladies can come into the industry. So I feel like it's like a circle where you have people entering the industry and they're able to bring others in, because it's not just about giving advice and talking to people. People need to be able to see themselves in you. And I'll give an example. There's a Cyber Girls Fellowship that's usually run by Cyber Safe Foundation, which every new year or every new batch that they announce the fellowship, the number of applicants increases, and it increases exponentially. I think right now they're talking of tens of thousands of ladies across Africa, that have applied, I think just within a month, if I'm not mistaken. So and I think the first time they did, they probably had like 1,000 or 2,000, I can't remember the exact figure. So you can see the great difference just within 3 years. And it's simply because now they are seeing more ladies in cyber. They are seeing that those who were in the first cohort, some of them are now working in cyber, and they are seeing what those people who are like them are already achieving, and it's having like a ripple effect on others. So I think that's aspect of having role models and also having mentors can be helpful. Just to point out something, that when I say mentors, I don't necessarily mean like someone above you. It could be your peer, because there's also room for that peer-to-peer knowledge sharing that can happen.
For sure. I'm not sure if Judy is frozen. Judy, are you still with us?
Wait, I'm frozen? You can't see me?
I can see you. I can see you a little bit, but I'm not sure. You seem a little bit frozen on my screen, but if I can hear you, we'll believe that you're there. So
I can't see Judy though.
You can. Okay.
Why is she hiding?
So you are seen and you are heard. I want to kind of hear on your experience. Who are the people and the resources and the organizations that made the biggest impact for you? Was it one of these women in cyber initiatives? Was it a university? You said your company really pushed you into leading more towards cyber. What was it that kind of gave you that additional support?
Okay. So can you see me now?
I can see you.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So for me, the motivation to get in, I think it was kind of, forced on me, yeah, to get in. But to keep going, I think I'd still give credit to the fact that, cybersecurity is always evolving. So I'm a very adaptive person. I like change. So what I do this year will probably not be what I do next year, because I want to do something very completely different. And the fact that cybersecurity offers that in terms of different elements, that's actually what motivates me. So for instance, I would say maybe last year I was doing application security. This year I'm doing enterprise security. Next year I'll be doing API security. This year I'll probably be handling a women initiative. So, and everything is just around cybersecurity. It's just that it's always evolving and it's always changing, and I like to change with it. So I think I will stop being motivated maybe when I run out of elements of cybersecurity to cover. Yeah.
I get the feeling that you're a very motivated person. It seems like your personality, you're very much like a self-starter, very kind of driven.
Yes, plus the money. I wanted to say that before. I didn't want to say that out loud, but it's not bad.
Yeah. I was wondering if you said that out loud, because I wasn't sure if you actually said that.
This is just between us. It's just between us. Okay. No, so the money, this is between us. Okay, thank you. So the ever evolving area of cybersecurity is one of the biggest motivation. For instance, now last year I launched a company that does identity access management, and then this year the bug bounty platform. So for me, like, okay, so these are new areas I need to venture into, and it's like a whole roller coaster of learning new things. Sometimes you see my studies, just sticky notes everywhere, and people are just confused on what I'm doing. Even I'm confused on what I'm doing. But I like that it's always changing, and that the fact that even the money doesn't get bad. It's not the very best. We are not talking fast country salaries. No, we are talking okay, good living, that can actually give you the leeway to even want to do something more outside of your comfort zone.
I mean, that's the thing that we're talking about, that if there aren't these motivations and it's not viable, if you can't support yourself, cybersecurity is a great idea, but like, we can't all be painting in the forest. Somebody needs to pay a bill. So I want to kind of switch a little bit and talk about these experiences that people in the West have and people in Africa have that are different in getting into cybersecurity, in the community, in the opportunities, and how it's not necessarily a straight shot like it might be in some other regions of the world. So, Mr. Bako, I want to hear about it. I want to hear, what do you think that somebody in the West should know that it's different? How is it structurally different? How is the community, more supportive? What do we need to know?
There's a whole lot. We probably need a session just for that. But I'll start with the obvious thing, right? The industry is fairly new. If you look across Africa, I'm not sure there was a lot happening in many countries, maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago, as regards to cybersecurity. Maybe if you look 5 years ago, then you start seeing some traction in majority of the countries. Before, just a few voices here and there saying one or two things to their governments, trying to, encourage the growth of the industry. So it's fairly new. And so the typical things you will see in America, for instance, or in the UK are not here. For instance, if you go to UK, you will see private sector companies that sponsor, like scholarships, for instance, for students to come and study certain areas of cybersecurity so that they can make use of that research, or they are sponsoring the department, or they are sponsoring the construction of something, or purchasing something for a school because there's a relationship and they're going to benefit from the graduates. You see, so if you look across Africa, if you look in Nigeria, where I'm more familiar with, I'm not sure of how many, and even if there are, I'm not sure there are more than my fingers, that are doing such kind of things. And it's not because I just feel like it's because the industry is not yet that mature. If you look at the number of schools that even offer cybersecurity programs for bachelor's degree, 5 years ago there was probably just like one or two doing it. Now we have a bit over five schools doing a bachelor's degree, and we have a few doing the master's, which is a good thing. Then again, because like I said, because of the immaturity and the age, you can't compare the quality with what's obtainable in the West. So these are some of the things. If I go deeper, you look at the infrastructure deficits. If you look at the cost of data, 1 gig of data in Nigeria, it's not the same as many other countries. It varies across Africa, and some countries it's really expensive. If you look at even the quality of the internet, so after paying, for that expensive internet, what quality do you get? What bandwidth do you have access to?
It was great. It was great. And I'm definitely not going to complain about my fiber that I got installed last week.
Yeah. So if I take it a step further, we look at even the access to the gadgets. How many people can afford a new computer? I think we have a big market for refurbished gadgets, and it's not because we like refurbished gadgets. It's because most people cannot afford what they would like to use, and so that's where we are. So all these things, they are all, will I say, barriers to entry. They all make it harder for someone to come into the industry. And because, like I mentioned, the industry is fairly new, so it's mostly financial services, government. There are not so many sectors that even employ, which also means that opportunities are few. So what is going to, like you said, money is a big motivator. What will encourage someone who wants to earn a living to come to cyber when he knows that he can't even get a job? So these are some of the issues, and maybe I'll stop here and allow Judy add some others from her perspective.
Mine's a bit different. But as we are not just 250 million, so I can't believe you said like you guys are like very small. 250 million, very small, very small. Uh, so for me, my experience in those terms, in terms of how it's different from the West, is for us, we do have a lot of awareness. Our market, private, public, there's a lot of awareness in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of issues surrounding, system security. We've adapted cloud security very well. Most private entities here, you realize most of them are fully on cloud. And with that, it comes with its security. So they will ask for security experts to be attached to that. We even have our data compliance, data protection acts that are, picking up very well. And you see, even cross border data sharing, we have very strict policies around that. Yeah. But then the biggest problem comes with uh the skill set for this. Like, you fully on cloud, you have a lot of data, you have this data is very sensitive, this is PII, so you don't want to share this outside the country. You have this very complex system, you have these applications, APIs communicating with everything, money transfers on these endpoints, but who actually is smart enough or responsible enough to actually handle such a company? So, and you see, if the company gets somebody like that, they'll have one, and they have all these security positions that they could fill. So they expect you as one person to be able to handle all these problems. Yeah. So you probably come in and all you know is cloud security. And as Bako was saying, CyberSafe, I'm actually a board member. CyberSafe, they will produce all these girls in these different areas. So they probably come, and I think we are seeing that companies here will like, okay, so are they graduating? Okay, let's pick somebody from cloud security. And then if they get somebody from cloud security, you're also supposed to tackle the application security end of it. And you probably in your stream, all you did was cloud security. Yeah. So the opportunity to learn is there 100%. And I appreciate that about, most of our companies. But then they haven't still separated or understood how to separate different elements of security. So cloud probably has no idea how to do AppSec. AppSec has no idea how to do network security. Like for me, for sure, network security is one of my weakest. I'm not even trying to. I've not even started. I swear to God. But I've had years of pen testing. So moved to DevSecOps. Then cloud security came easy. That now I'm very much into API security. So for me, it's like a journey. But when a company will get me, they're like, we want you to do enterprise security, everything. So you need to be the hacker, the non-hacker, the compliance, the governance, the trainings, people, and end user security. And you're not even sure what to do with some of these elements of the company, because you need to build security for the entire company, but you can't do that. And then the budget constraint as well. So we don't have such. I think that's also what differentiates us. Our security budgets here are not as massive as the West African. West. Sorry, not West
Western
Africa.
world.
Western world. Sorry, 250 billion people. Sorry. So the Western world, yeah. So our budgets are not that huge, but we are facing the same kind of problems now and then. So that is something I'm actually having, something to just look into that, because the budgets are not that friendly to build enterprise security for this type of attacks that are coming towards us.
It seems very much like a startup mentality in what you're talking about, where this, it's very bootstrapped. Everybody has to take on lots of roles and responsibilities. There's the flexibility if you show your skill to be able to move up and to learn things. At the same point, there's a lot of unknown, and trying to be able to find that stability when you don't have the history, you don't have the experience, you don't necessarily have the specialty, it could be very unnerving. So I wonder if part of the personality type that makes African cybersecurity professionals successful is that intuition and that motivation to kind of push through adversity. Where in the West it might be a little bit easier, it might be handed to them more on a silver spoon. African professionals really have to make more with what they have and to learn a little bit more on the job.
I call it MVS, minimal viable security. Yeah, for sure. It's that kind of mentality. It's like security is just the startup now. So, but everybody's trying to do this thing, and we have a lot of innovations across Africa because we're trying to solve a lot of problems. So this Africa is innovation hub, and actually, me usually Nigeria mostly is like one of the best place to actually like build up not in a governance kind of level, no, like like uh like this space to do or build solutions, because with solutions come problems. So if you have all these people, there's a lot of different kind of chaos that you need to solve. Yeah. So
Why are you talking about us like that?
this is a compliment for sure. Now, for instance, like the fintech industry in Nigeria is booming. It's really booming. You have all these fintechs, and like majority of them are doing great. As we have one, and that's it. Yeah, and it's solving all these problems. So if I want to build a fintech, I wouldn't build it here. Come to Nigeria and try and build another fintech on top of the 20 or 30 that you guys already have. Yeah, ideally that's it. So like Africa in that capacity, when it comes to like security, we have those you know very very weird different kind of problems from the west world, but we don't have the budgets to build around it. So we are working with the most minimal viable security at this point, but also that depends with the company as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if that could be something that African cybersecurity professionals could use to market themselves in the continuation of their career. If they're going to be doing remote work for Western vendors, if they're going to be working internationally, the fact that they can do more with less, it's like increasingly CISOs are being asked to take on this role and this responsibility of every risk compliance and every data acquisition and every technological, everything needs to be taken in. I think that from a perspective, from a hiring and HR understanding, that would be something that would be really valuable. And like that's what my next question is. The relationship of the Western cybersecurity community and the African cybersecurity community, and what the West can do to kind of give back to foster African professionals, but more so how they can work symbiotically. If it's African cybersecurity professionals can be feeders into these other organizations, if the talent can kind of be cross-pollinated, but what needs to be done for this community to be more cohesive, so it's not the African continent and all this potential and all these established companies. So in Nigeria, what do you think needs to be done? Do you think that the West could help and develop the cybersecurity sector in a way where it's mutually beneficial?
Well, I believe there's a role for them to play, but I'm not sure how much they can do in terms of developing this sector. I think that is for the Nigerian private sector and the government and the people to work hand in hand to do. So, for instance, an example of how we have a wide industry, and people like yourself, we have a lot of people who are in different countries, who attend our events, who speak our events. We have companies who sponsor our events from America, from UK, different places. So there's that involvement. When we talk about internship opportunities, we talk about job opportunities. There are quite a number of companies that are open to hiring. And they're doing a lot of initiatives. That they're when they organize their conferences, they make passes available for us to join. And now that things are even virtual, is nobody really cares too much about borders anymore. So I think there's some efforts ongoing. If you look at in terms of trainings and certifications, I'm not sure how many certification bodies originated in Africa or are, based in Africa. So it's mostly external, exactly. So
A bunch of them
I
are
think
fake though, so don't worry about it.
What? Wow. Okay.
yeah. So I think there's already that, and in terms of, for instance, governments and law enforcement, things like that, there's some information sharing, there's some collaboration that happens already. So I think some things are happening already. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. There's always more that can be done. And just to differentiate, there are Africans who are abroad. So it's not just referring to the foreigners themselves. We also have Africans who are there, who some of them try to bring people to that side because they're like, oh, we've gotten here, we've seen how good it is, and we can show you the way. We can tell you the skills you need to earn and gain so that you can earn a living over here. So there's that exchange happening as well. There are people who are paying it for, who are mentoring others, who are helping out with paying for people's like exams, paying people's school fees, for paying for people's laptops and stuff like that, just to help others in the industry. So I think there's a lot happening, both Africans abroad and even the foreigners who are trying to integrate with our industry. But like I said, a lot of the job still lies with the government. I'm not sure how much local partnerships we have in terms of within Africa itself. I'm not sure how well our interactions as governments and as security professionals within the industry. I'm not sure it's at its best level. Let me put it that way. I think a lot more can be done within the continent while still leveraging the external support we can get.
Judy, do you think that the African cybersecurity community has to do this organically, or that there is a role for Western cyber vendors, cybersecurity companies, cyber professionals to be able to either provide some level of mentorship, or I'm just trying to think of what can be done to bridge this gap to either provide more skills or to kind of make it so everybody is on a more even playing field.
Okay. Yeah. So first, I agree with Samaila. The biggest portion of what can be done is should and has to be done within, whether it's a private or government. It has to be done. The biggest portion of the solution is within the countries, and the difference is the fact that for us, in Africa, we are a continent that has 54, 55 countries, and each country has its different set of problems. Yeah. And I know, like, for like some western countries, you build one solution and it works for all your people. Here you build a solution, it works in Nigeria, but it will never work in Kenya. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to build a solution like that means you have to plug yourself into each and every 54 countries in Africa for you to figure out these problems. But that will take time. So the best people to actually build the solutions are the people within the country sitting there. They know the problems they face. They know what kind of solution would solve what kind of problems. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest portion, first of all. Then the second thing is technology was brought to us. We adopted technology. We're still adopting technology. Majority of it. We are not building it, we are adopting it, like cloud. Most of the cloud services we use, we adopt AWS, Azure, all this. Excuse me. So with those things that we adopt, we don't know what problems come with them. So we need to partner. Either way, we still need to partner and figure out, okay, with the AWS session management, this is how the session management works there. But here, that might not work because we have 250 million people. Yeah. So
You keep on saying it like it's such a big deal. It's just 250 million people, whatever.
Right,
I, I,
right.
I just
Never
need my
let us
brain.
forget about it. Like, okay, I hear it. There's lots. I got it.
Yeah. No, so we still need to partner because most of the technology we are using, we've adopted. So we need to understand how these systems work. And I want to appreciate some companies that have started doing a little bit of both. So like Google, Microsoft opened offices in Nairobi, in Kenya. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to localize the product. They're trying to localize for this market or for most African markets. It's like,
Mhm.
amazing. That works. Because we can't build the next Google yet. We don't know if we can. We have not started. I don't know if we will, maybe in like 2 years, 1 year. I'm not sure about that. But for now, we are using that Google. If we can localize it so that it can actually interpret Swahili for me, I'll be very happy. Because that's the national language here in Nairobi. If it can
Mhm.
interpret um, and Nigeria people, what is that language called?
There's so many, but I'm guessing
Yeah,
you're thinking of Hausa or Yoruba.
like Hausa or Yoruba. If you can actually Google can interpret Hausa or Yoruba, how amazing would that be? Your grandmother would not need to learn English. So they just go to Google and Google can actually, have a conversation or help them find information in Hausa or Yoruba. Yeah. So that
Mhm.
is very impressive. And I would love to see if this is the localization they are talking about, because that would be something very interesting I'd love to see from this company. So the partnership, 100%. And the fact that the people building this product to localize are local, that was one up on these big Western companies. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
one up on them. That means if you're recruiting, like this is literally the time to recruit based on tribe. Tribal has never been a good thing, but this is the first time it's actually a good thing. Yeah. Like they're recruiting Hausa people so they can build Google for Hausa people. Like literally, there's no other option. That's the only qualification you need for that. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, so for me, I'd say it's a little bit of both, but the majority needs to happen locally with the local people and the government. Yeah.
So wow, that um, I think that we should elect you for something. I haven't figured out what we have to elect you for, but like it sounds like Judy's running, right? It sounds like I'll send you like $7. I promise.
Huh? I warned you. I warned you. I told you. This is when my energy is really high. I'm really not high on coffee. In the morning, I'll be like, "Ugh." But now is when it's a good time for me to start
Yeah,
coding.
I'm
Actually,
not sure if other guests are as clairvoyant as you at this hour, but I'm really glad that you got like prophecy and you just like hit it straight on. I'm trying, but like it's okay. It's okay. So before Judy becomes the cybersecurity master of all of Africa and then the world, where can we find you? You know, like in the early stages of your career before you're too big to talk to us.
ah, see,
She's already too big to talk to us. That's the thing. You saw that.
Yeah,
There's no
already she's
getting
too
us to
big. Yeah.
talking to you right. I'm literally talking. Hey, yo, can you people see me? Oh my god. See, I don't even know how to answer that question. What was the question again? Sorry.
The question
And
is, where can people find you on the internet? Is it your LinkedIn page? Where can they find out more about you when you're speaking, when you're on podcasts and all that kind of cool stuff?
so I'm very okay, yeah. Lately, I've not been the most active, but I'm very. I'm always on LinkedIn for sure, for sure. That's the most active platform I'm in, with the name shown, Judy Ngure. Twitter, same name, or Code Bash, GitHub. You find me there. And lately, I joined Instagram, so that's another one. So that's I have maxed out on my social media. Those are the only options I have. I cannot do any other. I have maxed out. Yeah, those three.
Just those three. Mr. Baku, what about you? Can we you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, where can we find your musings on the web?
I think if you're looking for serious stuff, then you find me on LinkedIn. But if you, if you want to see political stuff and
Ah,
other things, then you
my
can go
phone.
on Twitter.
Okay, I'm right now.
Yeah, so but I think for most people, I just give my LinkedIn because I'm usually online. I have it on my phone and my laptop, and I'm always on one of those devices. So I'm easy to find there, except when I'm eating or sleeping or in a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Even when I'm sleeping or eating, I have AI answering. So let's start.
We'll try and just skip out on the eating and sleeping times, and then just page you every waking moment. We'll see. But
Yeah.
when we're not distracting you every waking moment from your job, we are very appreciative that you guys joined us, that you shared your experiences. Hopefully, our audience learned a lot, and hopefully, this is the beginning of the conversation instead of just a moment in time. I mean, from my perspective, it was really fascinating to learn about the 250 million people that are hanging out somewhere, and the entire dynamic to hear the bootstrap culture of African cybersecurity and to hear about the different opportunities that people have. So thanks for joining us for another great conversation hosted by Cyfluencer, the cybersecurity thought leadership platform. We're thrilled to bring you some of the most engaging voices and dynamic perspectives in cybersecurity. Looking forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Yehudah. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.